public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public face. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barretons too, cause I don't
there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su.
My name is Jasnity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup, and what they are doing today I can't take it, so I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
A pleasant good evening, everyone. Pleasant good Independence Day to everyone here in the United States. We know it's Independence Day today. Good evening to each and every one of you present here tonight. Welcome to Straight Up. I will be sitting in this evening for the Honorable Mr. Mark Anthony Benchcop. So can everybody just go ahead and share the link and like the program, and we will discuss a few things here tonight. Okay, the fastest hour in show business. So let's go, ladies and gentlemen. To all the veterans out there, we thank you for your service. We thank you for your sacrifice. Okay, it's because of your service and your sacrifice we can live in a free world today. So we thank you. And, you know, if you guys have any neighbors that are veterans, make sure that you give that special thanks to them. It's not easy being out there in these fights. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we know now that we're just sitting and waiting for the date of elections to be gazetted, okay? Right now, we are saying September 1st because that is the date that was given to us by the installed president. I just want to give you guys a heads up. You may hear some background songs, you know, singing like the Pops, but that's fireworks in the background. People are having a good time, so just excuse that. Yeah, we're waiting for the gazetted date. Anywhere between September 1st and November 2nd. All right, the elections date could be anywhere in between those two dates. But nevertheless, everybody seems to be lined up and ready. We know that we're going into elections with the same list. All right, nothing has changed. There's no biometrics in place. GCOM has done no reforms from 2020 to now to, strengthen our electoral process and or processes in Guyana, thanks to GCOM and the PPP, because that was purposely done by the PPPC. And of course, we all know that GCOM, by extension, is an arm of the PPPC, or at least it's not supposed to be technically, but that is the way GCOM has been operating. It has not demonstrated independence as a body. So here we are, right? We cannot say that we are not going to contest the elections, because if you say you're not going to contest the election, you're handing everything to the PPP. And that we don't want, right? What Guyanese would like to see is the box of the PPPC come September 1st or thereafter. So by now, we would have hoped that everybody would have heeded and went ahead and got themselves registered. All right? Because I believe it is too late now. So we are hoping that everyone is registered. So to the extent that you are registered, right? They say in order to win it, you have to be in it. So you've already completed the step of registering. Now it's about showing up on election day and demonstrating your democratic right. Okay? Freely and fairly. Nobody should be there to intimidate voters. All right? They should be able to go out there and cast their ballots. Okay? That is something personal. I know there's been a little bit of scramble as to if you could take cell phones in to take out picture and all of that. That should not be. You see, they're asking for these things because what they want to do essentially is to pay people, all right, to vote. So when you pay someone to vote, you're asking them to prove to me that you have voted PPP, all right? And then we're going to pay you whatever it is that we're going to pay you. But Guyanese, we have been lecturing you for the last 5 years. And it's not just that we've been lecturing you. You have seen with your own two eyes, you have experienced what the PPPC gives. Okay? There's trillions of dollars passing through Guyana. All right? Daily, a lot of money passing through your nation. And all you've gotten so far is 500 US for your troubles. Okay? Better can come your way. Better can come your way. You need to vote for that change. All right? So we want to encourage everybody to make sure that they get out there. You know, make sure you're talking with your neighbors. You guys are discussing these things. You need to vet your leaders. All right? You need to put your vote in a safe place. That is what it comes down to today. All right? I know the president talked about security and stability. What security and stability are you bringing to the Guyanese people when Nigel Darmlal is back in the fold and is going to be on your list of electors? What are you telling the Guyanese people when you do something of that nature? Someone who would have been accused of multiple rapes. Someone who was very, very disrespectful to another colleague in the parliament. Someone who is known to come onto social media and curse and use all types of vulgar language. And you're putting him back into the fold. What level of lawlessness, how high does the PPPC wants to go with their levels of lawlessness? And then the next question to follow that is how much is the Guyanese people willing to tolerate such behaviors and accommodate such people in their parliament. You see, in your parliament, you need to have standards, right? And standards start with the character of the individuals that are in that parliament, that makes up that parliament. We talk about wanting change in Guyana. That's where it starts. You got to start putting together quality leaders that can go in there and negotiate and work on behalf of the people of Guyana. But a Nigel Darmlal does not qualify for such. He does not. So I hope that the Guyanese people are smart and they execute come election day. When you vote, make sure that your X go into the box. Don't go in there widely and just put an X and just walk out. No, this thing has to count. This is the crossroads elections for Guyana. The PPP sits there again. It is game over for the poor. The PPP does not see the poor in Guyana. They don't see them. They feel like handing out a few cents here and there is satisfactory. Like we were discussing last night when I had the Honorable Christopher Jones here with me. School bus service. That is needed. Don't take the money and give it to the parents. You know why? Because parents are so strapped, and I'm not going to blame them. Some of them are going to use that the school transportation money for other things. You think when you give parents the back to school grant, that every time it goes to back to school? No. If they are backed up on rent, that's where it gotta go. What's more, I know it's important to send the child to school, but what's more important? To send the child to school and you don't have no shelter over your head? You get wet every time rain falls? So the choices, we got to think, the choices that parents have to make in Guyana, they are tough choices. Having 3, 4, 5 children to send to school, that's a heavy cost. I know a lot of people like to jump out and say, well, who told that person to make so many? We don't determine that. That's not really our business. Who tell the person to make so many children? No, let's don't go down that road. Let's see how we can assist and support that person. Let's see how the government can assist and support people that are experiencing such things. You don't need to sit down and evaluate your children 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you know, my third child seems to be smarter than the other 3. No, we mature and we develop at different times. Every human being, although you have 4 children that come from the same parents, they are all unique and different in their own way. So parents shouldn't have to make that choice as to who they're going to send to school. No, every child should have the opportunity to a free education in Guyana. It is in the Constitution. But we know that the PPP has breached the Constitution so many times. They only find the Constitution convenient when it is favorable to the PPPC. But the Guyanese people, they have finally woken up. They are wide awake now. Like I would have told you guys, I tuned in on Barry Jagdeo press conference, man. I tuned in. And boy, isn't the Guyanese people on to this man. They are on to him. Barry Jagdeo, you can't dodge these people anymore. These people have calculated the amount of years you have had your thumb on their nation, and they have failed to see the progress that they are looking for. Not even close. You think grown Guyanese have time to go down to a stadium and wind up and gyrate themselves? They don't have time for that. They want to see strong economic change, holistic changes in their country. They want to see the human capital be educated in their country. They want to see the pensioners being taken care of. Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, I was going through Facebook and I saw Newsroom and I was surprised. I was surprised to see this on Newsroom. But they're requesting families to come and pick up their family members at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Right? The people have been discharged. The individuals have been discharged, but the families haven't showed up to pick them up. Newsroom, and by extension, the PPPC. Why do you guys think that is? Why do you guys think that is? Cost of living is through the roof. The people don't have the resources. What you think they're saying to you? Y'all take care of them. Y'all take care of them because we can't. You guys sit there and you haven't given us the opportunity that we can amass the necessary resources to take care of our own families. And when I sat down there and I went through every single picture, all right? Every single picture. We had Guyanese of African descent. We had Guyanese of East Indian descent. We had mixed Guyanese. We had basically all the ethnic groups. I think I went through about 7 pictures. And that may only be now, you know. There may have been other times that the list was longer. But I'm just saying, guys, let's go back, you know, maybe back in the 70s, back in the early 80s, back in the 60s, back in the 50s. You think people are going or their family member being in hospital and being discharged and they just leave them there? And you guys want to sit down, Barry Jagdeo, and you guys want to talk about the late great Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham? You guys want to talk about him in this modern time where Guyana is an oil-producing nation and is quote-unquote one of the fastest growing economies in the world? That is how we treat our elderly. That is how we treat our pensioners. And for you pensioners out there who are aligning yourselves with the PPPC, what are you seeing through your binoculars? I would love to know. What are you seeing through your eyes and what is going through your brain? Because you guys can't catch a break under the PPPC. You cannot catch a break. They have done nothing to temper cost of living and inflation. Nothing. Nothing. Inflation has gone down basically all across the world. You're not seeing no movement with inflation in Guyana. Nothing. All right? Government has done nothing. Well, you know what? You can't do anything about inflation if you don't know what to do. Okay? You cannot do anything about inflation if you don't know what to do. And Ashley Singh, I'm talking to you. And Jagdio, I'm talking to you. You are the guys that should be dealing with inflation and cost of living. Okay? We're not going to come on here and tell you what to do. What the Guyanese people have to do, they have to be patient. All right? And they have to make sure that they get out there September 4th or anytime thereafter between September 1st and November 2nd and vote for change. There is no more freebie. All right? There is no more freebies. We are not coming on programs and giving away freebies to the PPP because they take our ideas and they use it and they don't give any credit. They are a lead party in government that would have failed over 5 years to engage the opposition party. They only engage the opposition party on Venezuela issues, on the Venezuela issue. All right? So their decisions, all the decisions, whether it's ID card, whether it's how much you should give to the Guyanese people for a cash grant, all of these things. Had I ever sit in the position of president, these things I have to run by the opposition also. They may have ideas. They may have ideas. I can't just come out and say $500 for each Guyanese. But what? The PPP has been hiding the information. Okay? They have been hiding the information. Look, I'll be honest. With the amount of revenue that would have passed through Guyana, at minimum, you hear, I didn't say maximum. I said at minimum, every Guyanese could have gotten $250,000. At minimum. Okay? At minimum. But I say this. You had 3 consecutive $1 trillion budget. And most of those budgets went towards infrastructure. Okay. The new Demerara Bridge almost done. Okay. Once the new government get in, that should be, all right, the infrastructure project right there to finish off the new Demerara Bridge. But here it is. Budgets going forward have to be people-centered. It's time that Guyana bring its people up to standard. Okay? It's time. We cannot sit down and say Guyanese are some of the richest people per capita in the world, and we have 53% of them living in poverty. That doesn't make sense. Make that make sense. It don't. All right? So the opposition has to understand. The opposition and new government has to understand. It can't be business as usual. Infrastructural works. Infrastructure works is very important. It's very important. But you have to look at what the previous government would have done. All they would have done is infrastructure projects. And why is that? Why is that? Because the PPP is a corrupt government. And what does infrastructure does? It gives you opportunity. It's like when you say, okay, we have a Macy's sale. It's like a sale. Major opportunities for corruption. And they have taken those opportunities. Because the monies that they would have called on certain projects, man, it's double the price. And then when people can take their own hands and pick up the road, there you go. There you go. It tells you about the quality. When the Heroes Highway is one of the bumpiest highway that one would traverse in their entire life, it paints a picture there for you. Okay? It's time. It's time. You could look, guys, you can look in Barry Jagdio's posture and see that he understands that he's not dealing with the same dispensation of Guyanese. Not anymore. Not anymore. He has been studied inside out. He doesn't have a move. The people, you know, like when you play chess and you have the PPP don't have a move. There is no move. There is no move. All I ask my brothers and sisters in Guyana to do is to when you go out there to vote, go out there in your clusters. I don't want none of you guys getting executed. That I don't want. All right? I want all of you to be alive, to experience Guyana in prosperity mode. All right? Right now, you are experiencing Guyana in poverty mode. I want you to be there for prosperity. All right? And warning to sheriff and all the security organizations, I don't care who you be. I don't care. I don't care. Do not go there and intimidate Guyanese. Do not go there and intimidate Guyanese. Sheriff Corporation, when they had when the country was somewhat not stable after the whole Adriana Young situation, you guys went into the street and you guys shot up and you guys do all of this and you guys intimidate Guyanese citizens. Well, I tell you this. Around elections, if you do more of the same, to the extent there's a new government, trust me, they better don't reach out to me, because I'm telling you, Sheriff Corporation will not exist. I am telling you that. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. I am telling you. Okay? I am telling you. So you guys can play around with the Guyanese people. You can play around with the Guyanese people and think that they have no one to stand up for them. All right? Play around. Play around. These are human beings. They're going to be coming out September 1st to demonstrate their democratic right and vote. They should be allowed to do so. They should not be bullied by any organization or any party. And in Nandala, special eyes have to be on you, the ID guy. You know, you have no shame. You have no shame whatsoever, you know, man. You know, you're the worst, man. You are just the worst. I just can't wait to see the back of you, Anil Nandalal. You're weak. You don't understand the laws. Okay? You don't. I don't know why you steal the law books. Because it didn't do you any good. You just steal those things and put them on a shelf to hold dust. And you seem to have lost all the notes that Roy Zilford would have given to you, the Honorable Roy Zilford. So therefore, you're completely ineffective. And while I say that, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, on the ballot, Courtney Crum Ewing, Adriana Young, the two young men from Linden, Peter Headley, Orrin Boston, Quindon Bacchus. They're on the ballot. All right? Even if you don't see them there in your head, they should be there. In your head, they should be there. And some of you who vote PPP, think about it. Any one of those members, think about if any one of those individuals that I would have just called their names was your family. Think about Oren Boston laying down in his bed at night, sleeping with his wife. You laying down in your bed, sleeping with your wife, and somebody's ordering your execution. Imagine that. You are laying in your bed, sleeping with your wife, and somebody's ordering your execution. Where does that happen? Listen, man. The PPP has executed way too many Guyanese, and let me be specific. Way too many Guyanese of African descent has been executed by the PPP. All right? Way too many. And we will not tolerate it anymore in Guyana. It will not be tolerated. So it's important, brothers and sisters, the youths, don't be carried away. Don't go with that narrative, oh, we don't know Aubrey C. Norton and all. Don't go with There's a saying. Everything that glitters is not gold. All right? Everything that glitters is not gold. Thank you, Miss Hazel Johnson. The Henry boys, yes. I'm not going to forget them. They were the first that was presented to Irfan Ali. And that's when he started with his famous words, no stone would be left unturned. You haven't even turned one stone. You haven't even turned a stone. Yes, and like Miss Lewis said, you're a scrape and a fug. Yes, you guys like to call people that. That is exactly what you are. That's why you guys treat the Guyanese people the way you treat them. And you know something, guys, while I'm at it, Miss Marshall, Svetlana Marshall from News Source. Miss Marshall, tonight I give you flowers. I know I can't hand them to you personally. But I must give you credit. Oh, she touched his nerve. And all she was doing, in my estimation, was perfect reporting. Perfect reporting. She asked the pertinent questions. You see, look, guys, you guys see what happened there. All right? Picture Miss Marshall at a Jack Dio press conference. I'm telling you guys, look, you know when there's good reporting and you know when there are comedy shows. All right? Thursday is a comedy show. The exchange that we saw between Miss Marshall and the installed president, that is what you call journalism. Excellent questions. And then he want to pull it. Yes, you sit in the highest seat in the land, but that does not give you the right to ask a journalist a question when she's asking you a question. Who are you? That's to show how dunce you be. You answer the questions to the best of your ability, and you could not. You got angry. You got angry because you guys fully and well know what you're doing to the people. You know everything that you're doing is wrong. Look, the viewers here on Wayne Caesar did not tell you to go and get in cahoots with a businessman to defraud the Guyana Revenue Authority when it came to paying taxes on a sport utility vehicle. We did not tell you to do that. You did it. And it's not nothing new. You've been doing this at housing when you was at housing. That's what you did. You would have allegedly taken advantage of many women when you was at housing. Just because they want a piece of land and stuff like that. That's what you guys do. That's what happens in Guyana. The wealthy prey on the poor. The wealthy preys on the poor. That is what happens in Guyana. That's why you guys deny the people. You always put them in a position that they must always want. All right? That gap between rich and poor is not closing. It's not closing. You guys give them 500 US and tell them, you know what? Take this 500 US and create generational wealth. Where? How? How? I can't do that. With all the experience I have, I can't do that. I would never take that deal. I personally would tell the government go to hell if they offer me such a deal. So, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, the PPP has a track record of disaster. Okay? They have a track record, you know, that shows disaster after disaster. Fiber optic cable, disaster. They wanted to harness or fall for electricity, disaster. One laptop per home, disaster. All right? $500 cash grant process, or $100,000. Let's call it, yes, it's $100,000 in Guyana. $100,000 cash grant process in Guyana, a total disaster. COVID cash grant process, a total disaster. The Guyana police force, utter nonsense, a total disaster. And when we talk about tragedies, Madia, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How? You guys make it make sense to me. How can you possibly elect this government back? How? I'm trying to find ways here. How? Come on. Guyana needs to move forward, man. Look, you guys, another thing. Look at the vehicular accidents. We don't go 1 week without an accident across the 83,000 square miles of Guyana. We don't go a week. And the accidents are horrible. Nasty accidents. People are not respecting the laws. Look, I was looking and I saw a car just hop over the median and kill a young man. That leaves this war, leaves a family, wife and children. And we look at that like if it's nothing. The PPP look at that and say, oh, things happen. I remember during the COVID time, you know what Jack Dio said? People are going to die. How can you say that? How can you say that? I would never brave myself to preempt that people have to die. I have heard people say, oh, when you protest and you do these protests and these type of things, is a sacrifice. People are going to die. No, people don't have to die. No. We need to start putting more of a premium on life. We don't want people dying. Let them get old and die of old age or die of some, illness as they get old. We don't want people to die. It's not okay for people to die. The Honorable Basil Bracher, believe me, there is accidents every day. They are not reported. Right. Thank you, Basil. Thank you. They are not reported. And you know what? the commissioner of police, let me tell you guys this, man. That guy is the worst ever. He is horrible. My goodness. He comes out and say that crime is dumb. I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even do that. How could crime be done when somebody would have thrown an explosive device at the outpost in Rumveld? How can crime be done when a young man in a Agricola area was just shot down and killed, and his brother picks up an AR-15 and walks out of a home trying to put justice in his own hands? That tells you how much trust the Guyanese people have in the justice system. And then also I was just reading right in Agricola, a young 32-year-old shopkeeper murdered. That's all we have, bloodshed in Guyana. What are these people talking about? And to you, I know people, high-level people, high-level intelligent people from time to time, they get upset with me. You, the ambassadors, who does want to come in and say that, you know, you approve of this and you approve of that? No, you can't approve when you don't have the knowledge of what's happening on the ground. It's just like a piece I had seen that was written by Miss Jane Miller maybe 2 years ago or so, that said that the voters list is good. How do you know the voters list is good? How could you know whether the voters list is good or not? You see, I'm going to tell you guys something. There's one thing I don't tolerate, is nonsense from people. I don't care what level you're at. You talk garbage and I'm going to tell you about it. That was utter nonsense. They have failed, all of them have failed to hold the PPPC accountable, and by extension the Guyana Elections Commission. And they knew what they were doing. But listen, no matter what oil deals are out there or whatever is out there, eventually those deals got to match what the Guyanese people want. Not what no politician want. What the Guyanese people want. That's what those deals got to match. Because you want to tell you something, you know what a lot of Guyanese are saying? This oil has brought a curse upon our country. We have not gained anything from this oil. That's what they're saying. When it has not made a difference. Do I agree with them? How can I doubt them? Big oil producing nation, I call into Pleasant. As soon as I call into Pleasant, the power goes out. People are getting power outage like if it's out of style again, guys. You might as well have just bought some new ferries and forget about these ships that y'all got sailing out there back and forth that's supposed to be providing power. You guys building big highways with lights and all these type of things, and you guys can't provide normal power in people's household. You guys are backwards, man. You guys are bailing out and you know, creating new schemes and trying to do all these type of things, and you're doing nothing when it comes to drainage and irrigation. Look at Cummins Lodge. Little rainfall and the people's yards are flooded and all of that. How can Guyanese be efficient and say, let me put a little kitchen garden? Everything would be flooded out and killed. So to put it in a nutshell, man, the PPP and their policies are just flat out garbage. And I don't care who investors, I don't care who ambassadors. Look, it is garbage. You guys are doing nothing for the people of Guyana. You're not doing anything. And I will not stop. I will not stop until I see better for my brothers and sisters in Guyana. Their country, their land is an oil-producing nation. And they need to experience a better lifestyle in what is called one of the fastest growing economies in the world. For the first time, let's make economics work the way it should. All right? Because I don't know how these economists could come out and talk the way they talk about Guyana, about each Guyanese individual being the richest per capita. Get on the ground and do your homework. All right? Get on the ground and do your homework. I understand what you guys are saying when you're saying that they're the richest per capita, but that is not actually working. So you guys can say by your standards and by your measures, they should be. But don't tell them that they are. They should be. Maybe that's better. Because it's not occurring. When it's occurring, then you can tell them that they are. Okay? 53% of them is living in poverty. Just to let you, just to, educate you guys on what is actually happening. So maybe we need to look at some of our economic processes, right? And how we come about making decisions. And maybe we should do that on a country by country basis, depending on the situation in the country. Pull that into your numbers, pull that into your statistics, right? It would be a more accurate measure. Maybe you guys can look at that. All right, guys, we're closing in on time. It's 9:59, and I hope you guys have noticed there have not been any change in the value of the Guyanese dollar in 5 years, and we're the fastest growing economy. Look, I am baffled, guys. I am baffled. I wish I had more time to go on, because we could go on and on and on. I am baffled. Okay? I am baffled. Guyana needs a new government. Guyana needs a government for the people. Guyana needs a government that would promote better standards. All right? Guyana needs a government that would respect the three segments of government that represent democracy. Okay? We have a parliament, we have a judiciary, and we have an executive, right? And they're supposed to perform checks and balances on each other. And by extension, they should be respecting our constitution. That's what we need a government to do in Guyana. Okay? We need a true functioning democracy. We don't need an autocratic government hiding behind, you understand me, the democratic framework. Okay? The other thing we need, this one is a tough one. Redistribution of wealth may be a big push, maybe a tough one, but we need some type of ethnic economic balance in Guyana. All right? That is not happening. All right? There is one ethnic group or two, I would say the East Indians and the Chinese, that are superior from an economic perspective. And that is not by chance, that is by design. Okay? The Amerindian, the Guyanese Amerindian and the Guyanese of African descent has been oppressed and has been left out of the whole development process. Don't worry with those little contracts that are given out. Don't, please, guys. Please, please, please. That is not even a needle in the haystack when you look at the fraction of what is coming into Guyana. All right? It's not even a needle in the haystack. We got to get working. The new government has a lot of work to do. And beforehand, I want to tell everyone, I want to say to everyone, you have to be patient, okay? You have to exude some measure of patience. Because I noticed that there was a loss, you understand me, of patience when it came to the last coalition government, 2015, 2020, as I go back and I do my studies. You got to understand that that last coalition government, 2015 to 2020, did such a good job stripping down the Guyana economy, making it naked, because it was an economy that was built on drugs, racketeering, gold smuggling, everything illegal that you could find. Smuggling in arms, everything. At one time, I would have understood that they would have picked up terrorists all in Guyana. That's to show you look, The PPP is down on the world. There is so much about this government that a person of character, a person of integrity, a person with love for country and love for people can never live under. You guys are introducing and trying to reintroduce retirees to come back home to Guyana and build. No, you're bringing them back home so you can rob them. There's nothing attractive in Guyana to bring back home retirees. You got the robberies that is up. Why do you think robberies are up? Because the PPP is not smart enough to understand if they put certain programs in place, it would get people off the streets. And how do you do that? You have to engage the opposition. You have to get the opposition involved, and you guys work as a quorum. Not just making unilateral decisions. You need to make some of your decisions need to be bilateral. I would have loved to see the PPPC decisions regarding the Guyana oil resource be bilateral decisions. But they weren't. They wanted everything for themselves. And listen, I know a lot of people like to say, oh, we're going to sue you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Vikram Bharat, I would like to take a look at your capital, sir. You're the guy who's in charge of the oil and gas. I would like to take a look at your capital. I would like to do a comprehensive audit on you. I am sure I'm going to find a lot. For a matter of fact, let me just don't target Vikram Bharat only. All of you. All of you. Jack Dio, I know you're a done deal. You're a done deal. I know a lot of you supporters like to jump out and say, what is Wayne talking about? Investments. What investments? What investments? What investments? That they're controlling everything from being in government? What investments? Like I said, man, I have put together certain things that I would like to see brought up in Parliament and voted upon to limit parliamentarians and government officials from being in government and partaking in the day-to-day operations of business. That is not right. That's a conflict of interest. That is collusion all the way. And any fair member of parliament or government official who is truly there to serve the Guyanese people would vote on that and let it pass. I'm not telling you that you can't own a business, but you must not be involved in the day-to-day operation of that business. And any matters regarding the industry that business is in, voting upon, you should withdraw your vote and not vote. You should not participate because you can be biased in nature. Right? Because it can benefit your farm or your business. All right, that's one of them. And there's another one that I have slated. But I hope that you guys on the opposition side is prepared to pass such a legislation and put it into law, you understand me, and put some checks on yourself. Right? Put some checks on yourself. I know people will be like, hey, you need to trust the process and you need to trust people. Well, so far, what has happened to the Guyanese people is that they have trust people and people have went there and failed them. I'm not saying that the new government would fail them, but I would like to see those legislations in place. It is only fair that we have them in place. All right? All right, brothers and sisters. We have come to the end of Straight Up for this Friday evening, TGIF. I hope all of you have enjoyed your 4th of July thus far, and I want to say shout out to all our veterans, all our servicemen and women. Again, we appreciate you, we love you, and thank you for making the sacrifice to give us the freedoms that we have today. Until tomorrow, yes, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, and of course, you guys will be seeing me again tomorrow. Until tomorrow, and over to you. My name is Wayne Caesar. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your 4th of July. Love you, love you, love you. Good night.